needs compassion, a love that's never failing. Let mercy fall on me. Everyone needs forgiveness, the kindness of the Savior, the hope of nations. Savior.
This is Chariot.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Baby bia ohwe Chariot TV bia yekasa onyankopon onka hona onyew kese ane apologetic emre no aso na se onim se ye gibre ne yetena ase nko ade a na empensempensemu ena ye ba beye ye ba be fa nyema bebre na mean se waka ehu ne esu ade nko ade onim nkoma edi e wo sa adwumedi we sei so asoma hodo atwa ehu ahia ye bisi ehu se so emu de wo he ena beboa mi etu ye nya nkwaje na so nyankopon bi mpo ho ana Bible no efi nyankopon nchen ana ankofo bi ne ko che tokro bi muturo ye e de bedaada nipa we ni bebre ne edi ho nkomo e apologetic dwumedie ne so na enne enye any different enne nkomo no ebeye de se enne nkomo no edi ada so na nkasa ne so we flyers na ebia me ye sure se wo dwunis edi na nkofo e ba be discuss nkomo ye di no Hebrew cosmogeny. Wow, Hebrew cosmogeny. Now basically no ye Genesis chapter 1 ekosi Genesis chapter 11 enkomo e wo Genesis chapter 1 ekosi Genesis chapter 11 enne de eba be focus on na ye laser pointers ni bibia be gusu no the Hebrew cosmogeny de eba de asechire ne sen wo bra ye di nkomo na no ye guess I want no ye nchen no obeboa me etumi ate saa asem we say ase yie pa na me gidi say e besua de awie no se na wo doubt bi a e be clear doubt no ama saa fe so na woni doubt na ujitum se ani onyankopon ho na Bible ni onyankopon asem nso a e be ma ogidie no e be tintim na aboa ma woni afoforo nso etumi ache nyankopon asem men kasa bebre men chekra meda me guest ni edi akire ye nyina na ansa na no me kai wo se dwumedie sonku bi e ba be koso e wo Chariot TV na saa dwumedie no mesrew ubeboa ehu flyers na wa sha ma dwumedie be ya digital lectureship na saa dwumedie we say dwumedie sonko a Chariot TV afi bia ye de ba wo nchen ye sha say last year e na afi nso ye de ne second edition nso e ba wo nchen na this time no ye ne Church of Christ TV e na partner na ye de saa dwumedie we say e ba wo nchen saa dwumedie we say ne Church of Christ TV ye no e be sha say from 2nd August to 13th August very very packed pa your preachers omo Church of Christ mo o matena Bible ho ache yie pa omo nti asiemu do omo ba bani aba besua de afa the glorious church intimesrew so hu flyers no abontia no waboaye no wa share na wankasa nso mbra ni du a na oni ye atena ase esua ade na men sembre no afi mamenda me guest na di enche midi e de down so na me guest no preacher of Free Committee 8 and 9 Church of Christ Tema Community 8 and 9 Church of Christ Mr. Jonathan Mensabosu akwaba
yeah
na pumboko de
boko na nse
nyankopa da ma o time mani je ho pa we di obi na ka se o de ne yere ameto bi we di me amakoto me de o de ne yere ame akopa me de ato na se apumboko
boko nyame adom
okay na enen kuma ebedi no me hu che se title na nkasa ne kwampo ye ho obi business na ade ni cosmogeny ya wo kan wan se bi just ofa dictionary e ko checke de koso na so obetie no kakra bi a kire ansa na ba Genesis 1 to verse number 11 chapter 11 enkomo a e wo se edi no de di kan kire Hebrew cosmogeny no ase ansa na ya hye enkomo na
medase mamemfa akonya iso na menchia etiefo nyina se dane da nyina no munya bre na omhwe Chariot TV yedwumedi a yeye yakoswa kai edamasi se omujibre na nhwe apologetic dwumedi so busamia the word cosmos see universe of course cosmos means it coming from the word that suggests order,
yes,
but it talks about universe. So cosmogeny simply means the origin of the universe that we are giving account.
Maybe we are saying
if free by which church how a buy. Say any purchase okay, say in a buy, say in the see, and a man we buy. That is cosmogeny.
Okay.
By Hebrew, cosmogeny means that what the Hebrews, the Jew for no, EGD, now the Christo for GD. See, the book of Genesis, how our Genesis represented Yasia de Bo and
pass so buy.
Yes, that is what we are talking about.
Hebrew cosmogeny. And watching it because you Hebrew cosmogeny, Israel for and say, send your Bible account or the man. Yes, we are seeing fast so buy, say day one, say they see day two. Sad not near friend Hebrew cosmogony.
Yeah, the Judeo-Christianity view of how the world came into being. That is essentially the idea I can was.
Okay. Me that's pa na me bisa say here topic na Genesis 1 to 11. Yes. And sunny focusing on that means subsequently we part 1 and I say we first lesson yes. In the other discussion we hear other topics say what Genesis 1 to 11. But Genesis 1 to verse number 11 Matthew metaite and say utaiwe omo yes skeptics and I say atheists that one gene to say Yankopon bia we asena asema ko motai ka che and say Bible na nkasa no enkofo bi netena ase a omo tworo de bedaadaye enti in of itself according to them enye historical account say enye reliable because obi na kwatena ase ko kan bibi na omo de ba bedaadaye but Genesis 1 to 11 no and also na say u Bible na o pe bibi e ka say kwanya wiase fa so sha ase I mean enye honkwan na bi wo ebi o other place but eye fapem nti me bisa say we are sure say a literal na say a historical and what shows say a historical what shows
okay but that's it the thing say you see any attack has to start with the fundamental bonsam ne attack and kasano starts with the fundamental so what study Bible kakra any say no kind of skeptical views in mostly the first point of attack maybe a attack and do so pa e wono is in the book of Genesis.
The book of Genesis. Yes. On a man for obi person attacking Christianity in the Bible.
What they say. It is an attack through one foundation. No, if you are able to shake the foundation, whichever follows after the foundation, it will fall. Indeed, that is where the attack is coming from. And saying all kind is true. There are a lot of people attacking the Bible, particularly Genesis chapter 1 to chapter 11. Yes. That is where the portion of the Bible are receiving more attacks, more questions. I mean, the famous skeptical question. Yeah. Where did Cain get his wife? Yes. Genesis 1. Genesis, yes. Noah's Ark. Genesis 1.
1 to 11, that stretch.
Those stretch, that is where the whole
especially, and you get a lot of people even say Tolina, Cain, Onininia Abel. At the aka Adam, Eve, and a Cain, and in Abel, or mere 4, in your Abel, Tomaka 3. Look at the Cain knew his wife, therefore, and
look at it. I mean, think about it this way. Say someone is asking you, do you believe in a talking snake?
Yes. I can snake.
A talking snake. Would you believe in a talking snake? Yeah, so, that portion of the Bible from Genesis chapter 1 to Genesis chapter 11 is attacked heavily. It's attacked by two groups of people. Okay. The first group, are people who are skeptics. Yeah. Skeptics, atheists, who don't believe in the Bible. They don't believe the Bible is true. They attack it. They claim that, well, it's made. They are not true. They are inaccurate, historically inaccurate. The people that didn't exist, they are fables and things like that. I know. But the sad part, another attack is also coming from people who claim affiliation with the Bible. You see, I say, Bible, Bible, so but inwardly, they also attack the Bible. True. They don't want to believe it. Let me give you an example. I'll start with the New Testament example, then I'll show you the example. Okay. You see, there was a philosopher who lived, Rudolf Bultmann. Rudolf Bultmann. Good. He was living Olivui. I mean, I've forgotten the exact year, but you can check him out. And his teaching on the Bible now spread across the seminaries. Or more a church, the Bible, or school, they did suppose as of one. And he said, he started thinking, well, we have to separate the historical Jesus from the myth. In other words, he didn't believe that, well, Bible can say, yes, edane insuo wine. That actually happened.
Or you'll be a quote unquote or a religious person.
Yes.
But or doubting the Bible, no.
Not just religious, or a theologian.
To say, I get it.
Rudolf Buckman is a theologian. One of the greatest German theologians you can think of.
Yeah.
I mean,
that means he carries a lot of, he has a lot of authority when it comes to discussing religious issues.
Yes, the writings pervades around a lot of seers. And he started saying that, well, we should demythologize the New Testament. In other words, we separate the fact from the myth that surrounds the New Testament. Say, Jesus Christ, to Buckman, the only miraculous which happened is the empty tomb.
Wow. The
feeding of 5,000. Jesus walking on the sea. I mean, these were all myth. The disciples kind of wanted to give Jesus a very good view. I said, one person glorify Jesus and I make Jesus Christ to nyame, defy Jesus Christ. Okay. And in order to do that, they have to create some sort of picture. Say no, yes, century. So in other words, about Jesus Christ to sorry, and in his teaching, no, just say, if you have furniture, I say, catch him, say, sorry. See, let us do something. See, so they started that religion and tried to defend the Matthew. And some are watching and see, but Matthew is trying to portray that as see. John is trying to portray. So what are their theologians? There's one theologian, I've forgotten his name. Okay, say the deity of Jesus Christ evolved.
Yes. But
Amen.
He is the famous scholar. Greek scholar actually. New Testament scholar. Textual critics. Manuscript evidences. Yes, he's a very good one.
So he started saying that, well, there are some of the things that even Jesus is attributed to Jesus, which is not true. So those things are things that came. That is the New Testament. So about Old Testament, particularly Genesis chapter 1, verse number. Genesis chapter 1 to verse chapter 11. There are people, there are theologians who believe that one, that is not true, it's not literal. They are fables. Some even go to the extent to say they are parables. In other words, there was not actual Adam and actual Eve.
As a Yesuka parable, because na abrantie bi wo ho na say sa na mo so fa ne say.
Yes, some go to the extent of telling us that, well, it is allegorical. Allegory. It's allegorical. Say, or the infato ho de chire bibi. He's trying to teach us it didn't actually happen. There is one popular guy or denominational guy who is still alive, William Crane. William Crane can say Genesis chapter 1 to Genesis chapter 11 is mytho-historic. Mytho-historic. I don't know where he got it. Myth and historic. Indeed, your name will be more NC. I know correct, but the one name will Genesis is it's myth that has been mixed. You see, myth has been mixed with history. Okay. Indeed, Genesis chapter 1 to 11, for him is a mytho-historic. I mean,
and when they mean trouble, but when you have people like this caliber, theologians, you can say theologian, like that means and you have these people saying that, and especially those who attack Christianity, critics of Christianity, because say, even but people say, even theologian will say, without actually even looking at a theologian, evidence being on also they can't ask them.
One of the theologians are managing about interesting a German lady. Okay. I was study or German. I don't know the nationality, but I was study or German. We call her Italian or something like that. E-T-A Leman something. So he was very good, very, very brilliant. And he started attacking the Bible. So many years attacking the Bible. But he's someone who studies the Bible. And later on in life, he came out and said that all his views are now attacking the Bible at all.
Oh, so he views all those years.
So he published out and started telling people that in the books are true, now they attack the Bible and they should ban it. Oh, and it's very, very good. I've read a portion of one of his books. a historical criticism, something like that. It talks about Bible and those things. I can say about that, and she's very, very good, very, very good. And all these people are saying, they give those who are in the unbelievers,
an opportunity
to start on it and proclaim Zemukrano. And these Muslims and critics, they base their argument on some of the things that these people have been saying. People have been sitting by the Bible and saying these things, and they base their arguments on them and try to.
For example, this idea of the evolution of I say Jesus Christ was not God in Matthew. Mark na as or the fire kakabedu by John there. Now it's popularly used by Muslim dawa preachers because of their bat eman, and they would give you it's bat eman rattling. They've memorized what he says and they are just spewing it out. So it's important that we distinguish that. So that means these scholars are part of the problem.
Yeah, they are part of the problem, and strangely enough, at times we are also part of the problem.
Okay.
Our own people, at times there are people among us who have also swayed off. Because among us, there have been people who have studied, gone that far, and still strayed off and trying to become part of the problem. Yes, they become part of the problem. At times it's sad, but they also study and contribute to some of this problem. Now, problem. It's not only the skeptic, the atheist or agnostic, they're not any of them, but also at times it's our own people. Inside is Bible proclaim they also give us problems so that.
But this question comes to my mind immediately after you mentioned there are some people within us. Somebody would go like, okay, come on, Genesis 1 to 11, pen and engine this the whole Bible, so for Bible now. I mean, BBT say the Genesis chapter 6 say God repented. I mean, I believe everything the Bible says, but how can God repent? And because of that, Genesis 1 to 11, manje ndia, not say meji other things nidia. What is so wrong with me not accepting Genesis 1 to 11? And is it even important for one to say Genesis 1 to 11 is not literal?
Okay, so take for instance the book of Genesis. About the book of Genesis, people who are mentioned in the book of Genesis, like Joseph, Abraham, and possibly maybe apart from Abraham, who falls like Genesis chapter 12.
Yes.
One of the people that is constantly being mentioned in the rest of the Bible is Adam.
True, very true.
Jesus mentioned Adam.
Isaiah, all these prophets.
No, I'm not even talking. I'm talking about even New Testament.
Okay.
Let's say Adam.
Yeah.
See, Paul can answer.
Jesus can.
Paul can answer Corinthians. You see, Jesus now can answer. You see, so if we doubt what happened in Genesis chapter 1, if I'm able to show you that Genesis chapter 1 to 11 actually didn't happen, they are just made. They were just fiction. They are not. They are figurative. They were not a real person. Then I have the chance of doubting what Paul is saying in Romans. I have the chance of doubting what Paul is saying in Corinthians.
Yeah.
I also have the doubt of doubting saying that the Jesus can or Matthew chapter 19. Aside that, you see, so far, aside creation, one of the greatest events that has happened in the Old Testament is the Noah's Ark.
Yes, the flood.
The global flood.
Yes.
That is quoted by Peter.
First Peter, and it's actually in relation to baptism.
Yes, it's quoted by Peter.
Yes.
It's quoted by Jesus Christ. And if I'm able to doubt and say, well,
and you're global.
And see, global.
Okay, maybe I don't know.
So if the person said, can be able to tell us the NCA, then what happened in Peter's record? Then what happened to Jesus' record? Jesus said in my year to Noah now. Said Noah so if I be able to doubt what happened in the day of Noah, well, forget about your 1 Corinthians 15.
And discredit, and it makes the Holy Spirit to be a liar, which is blasphemy.
Yes. So the first point is that we should learn how to fight the enemy at the point where he is interested in. See, so Bible, how are they defending Atra? Let's first equip ourselves with where the enemy is working best. You see, opponent. Now opponent no. Ade or training who also wa person who defeating no. So master or ade or master no. So when you okay ma many na me call back hard for when you ba so o shia wo the field because oba attack from where he's standing.
Yes.
chance. Yes. Nobody will come and bring you up and ask you what is repentance as a critic.
Yes.
They won't ask you that.
Yes.
And they say, what repentance is or what is baptism. They will attack you on this. The atheists will not bother with attacking what is baptism. Because they are only here.
And I say, who is the Holy Spirit? On yes time, no, yes time.
Yes. So I entreat us all, say, it's time we start looking at the hard issues that are being brought up, the hard questions that are being brought up, and try to dig deep. It's difficult. Some of the questions are difficult. Some of them, it will require a lot of studies. Some of them, you have to look deeper into the issue and find answers. And that,
okay, yes, some of them are very difficult questions, and that is why we have apologetic art to help us answer some of these seemingly difficult questions. And ebe akakaka no ebe boawa wo hwe ene me amiti eni nyina na boa me yetumi adigi deeper into this subject. Into na me Kyle safi na wo join here. Please share to your friends. Odi ehwe wo hwe ase ho na ye wo share button wo share ma afofo uwi a sa hwe ho na so hwe o YouTube a ye wo button ya actual subscribe. O click it so pe ebe ba say subscribe. Now there's a bell icon be or you click on it. Then you are anytime you release a new video, you get a notification. Into your best say unapologetic these are the type of things we do here. Into Messenger say you subscribe, you share, and if you have a question, please leave it in the comment section, and we'll be glad to look at it for you. All right. So moving on, that means concretely, I'm passing Genesis 1 to 11, a literal and it's historical.
Yes, that is what I believe, and that is what I think the truth is. The Bible nature say Genesis chapter 1 to chapter 11 is literal, is historical. And
if that is the case, if it's literal and historical, then it means it's going to pose a very big challenge, and it would mean say any other contrary view be you are saying it is not.
It's not true.
It's not true.
Yes, that is why we are trying to learn. That means that say Genesis chapter 1 to 11, what it's saying is true. Then it's one. Let me go ahead and say then it discredits what supposed scientists are saying.
Especially
that's why I use the supposed scientists are saying.
Yeah.
It goes against the theistic evolutionists. It goes against the progressive Christianists. Try to every depending so it goes against. It is literal. Every statement there from I believed that it was Adam's rib. I believe that it was a talking snake. Snake cannot kasa. I don't know the language. That one I don't know.
If you're Adam and Eve, we don't. I mean, nobody can tell me the language that they spoke.
Well, I remember there's
an interesting. Did they speak Hebrew or they spoke?
Brother, we are not meaning no, not meaning the acquire some paka.
Okay.
The only prospect it's one you see the Anna or catch a property. Well, when say Casa na Adam Moka, na Casa, Casa. Hey, the question when I will say, no, me told you, we will say Hebrew.
Hey,
I was like, hey, no.
Say okay, say Old Testament John or Hebrew.
I was thinking that
Adam,
we don't know the language. We don't know the language. You need Casa no Moka. But I believe that the communication no more no communication. He want to communicate with Eve in a language Eve yeah. You see, in the language Eve. So I believe literal, historical. It happened. Not they say literal. It might be literal but not happening.
Yes.
Some can kasatin or can. But not in see.
Yes.
You get it. And it's literal and historical.
That's true. And I think we should quickly address this before we move on to the next thing we have here. It's good we want to defend the truth, but we should be careful. Say we will not defend the truth with a broken sword. We've mentioned this before.
Yes.
Because Obinso Akabibi to say, okay, Genesis chapter 1 concerning Adam, Eve, ne only name one or say Adam the name we are seeing now. Then I remember there was a time Obika as chairman, and I'm going to say, so Adam ne frere amoeba na. Adam ne frere prototista. Adam ne and the Bible did not say that.
But the Bible did.
Bible na nkasa, but I keep on hearing people say Adam ne name niema. And when we are seeing
They are even breeds of organism and a species of organism. it will be foreign to Adam.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Adam
yes,
wouldn't be the only one to
yes.
I mean, the species has
and
changed.
Even when some statements are too broad and too
bold. I get your point.
And you need to be careful.
You don't throw in falsehood amidst trying to teach truth. So now they are throwing.
They have to say Adam name. Oko kind Bible, the Bible kind na. And they say edimpo Adam de ma sa aboa. Sisi aye kase no. So obi say na say the kind kasa be no the kind. We don't have access to it.
Yes.
So let me ask this quickly. Then the book of Genesis 1-11. Why not Troy? Quickly answer now. Yeah.
Yes,
because it's important.
Yes, it's Moses who wrote it.
Moses. Just say Adam.
No, it's not Adam. The book of Genesis was written thousands of years. You see, the history now what Genesis was. 2,000 or 2,500 years of history.
Okay.
In fact, from Genesis chapter 1 to around Genesis chapter 12, it's around 2,000 years.
About 2,000 years.
Genesis chapter 1 to Genesis chapter 12, it's around the call of Abraham.
Oh, flip, saying 2,000 years.
2,000 years of history that is condensed in there.
Interesting.
Yeah, you had that piling up in the Shafosa.
Interesting.
From Genesis chapter 12 right to Genesis chapter 50, it's around roughly 500 years. So it's around 2,500 years. Moses appeared afterwards.
Yeah.
You remember in Exodus chapter 1, Moses.
Yes.
It took some time. And son of Moses
Egypt 80 years.
Yes.
Training 40 years there, 40 years on the desert. And
Moses wrote the book of Genesis roughly around 1,400 or 1,000, let's say 1,400, 1,500 before Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Now, Adam, Monia, they have so it was God who told him what happened. Nyankopon bad there no. So Nyankopon bad there no. Na Moses enyina ho ana okura ne pen and paper. E ka say well.
Yeah.
Nyankopon bad fiti say Nyankopon bo we Nyankopon bo. Na onyina ho. You get it?
Yeah.
It was Nyankopon ne catch no. This is what happened. So it's not Moses writing to appeal the current thoughts or the current thinking.
Because by then the Egyptians they were schooling, they had knowledge.
Yes, you know Moses trying to write to appease the current thinking. And now Moses trying to appease the current school of thoughts. And what actually happened?
Yeah.
The Moses now of his own cannot know.
Because he wasn't there.
Only what? So Ubusamia is Moses.
And would you say that is what you call the inspiration of the Bible?
Yes.
So he was inspired by God to pen down what happened within that period of time.
Exactly.
Wow. Then that would give us a lot of information because we know, giving us genealogies as in chapter 4.
Yes.
And Adam,
table of nations, how nation came about, how languages came about.
Yes.
All these things.
The first polygamist, and these are very, very historical statements that he made in there. Interesting. Okay, so then what is the view of creation? How did everything start according to the scriptures?
Okay, so your Bible Genesis chapter 1 primarily discusses creation in sequence. What happened. Day 1. Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2 gives us a fair idea that, another passages gives us a fair idea that it took 7 days.
7 days.
And 7 literal days.
Okay, and the 24-hour days are away.
Yes, 7 literal days. That's what I mean. And here we'll be talking about people who have issues with that. 7 literal days. The first day, we note that Nyankopon was so near Asase. And he created light. That is the first day. On the second day, then he created expanse. King James said firmament.
First day, the okase ahaimra in the high. Okay.
On the third
day. Me sure because the whole can say creation of just this earth. And I say we are like the entire universe now. Okay.
In the Genesis chapter 1.
I say in creation of everything say Pluto, Saturn, other galaxies involved, and I say we are just looking at.
Yes, the heavens there encompasses those things.
Oh.
See, Genesis chapter 1, verse number 1. The heaven is shown and baby and
okay.
See, the most people, I think I've met a witness who I was telling him that Nyankopon be say Sonia Sase And the witness was like, the Nyankopon be say or soon as I say we are, and he was saying no back to him.
Okay, just thinking say Nyankopon tina bia no. He created that place there or more.
And I'm catching and say, well, before Nyankopon ever bought a dear no, I think Nyankopon bought a strong assassin. Baby are not tiano. Or no better. See, that is the point.
Yes.
Indeed. So, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. That word heaven there does not mean the dwelling place of God. But as we are going, we will go details. Into Busamia, the entire cosmos, the entire universe, and many will that is what happened in Genesis chapter 1. So, Genesis chapter 1, verse number 1, about the entire universe and earth. In the earth, in Genesis chapter 1, and you can watch some details.
Okay.
Genesis chapter 1, verse number 1, earth was not the perfect earth, and the perfect fulfillment. And so the earth was not complete, was not prepared. The in Genesis chapter 1, verse number 1. So that's the message I said. Earth not born was not a complete picture. Then
yes,
a perfect form.
The known form ready for man to settle on.
Yes,
okay.
As he progresses, then he tried to tell us what was happening on earth. Because we don't follow things that happened on earth.
Yes.
You see, not things that happened on Saturn or Jupiter or things like that. But he created trying to tell us things that happen on earth. In the chapter day 1, also about a straw any assassin. Anna Oma high by. Day 2, Anna catch and say, Oma intrimu, firmament to divide the waters above from the waters below.
Okay.
Day 3, Anna created land. He created land, plants, and sea.
Okay.
Obo and dry land by Anna assassin. Day 4, and Yankopon created things that control time and season, like sun, moon, stars. Those things are control. Like day, night, those things be control. Or born day 4. Day 5, Anna created the air and the water species and organisms and animals. In Siomune, Viemu Adomano, or born day 5. Day 6. And about land animals and
beasts,
humans
and from
beasts and humans. On this day 7, then he rested. And that closes the entire Hebrew cosmogeny.
Okay. Say that description we know there kwanya Nyankopon fa so born yoma yehu asase within that time space. And within this time space na amafo be raise questions be e dey aba say oh especially, and I'm sure say Yasha say Genesis 1 to 11 we'll be looking at all these. You say so you're skeptic and I say we will be a wunjin to na wutie na Yasha say stress say Nyankopon cry rest. We will address that.
Yes.
Tina abotre and what also can bra obo usuomu emwa Genesis chapter 1 I think bra oka say oka say he created light. Let there be light, there was light. After do 4 days, after no be sun and moon and
so those things are questions that people ask.
Yeah.
And we will ask you progress encourage you for some question. As you progress, we will try to answer some of these questions that are unique, typical with Genesis that people has.
Yes.
There are a lot of questions. Some Mikael, I was teaching some Sunday school, and Sunday school people they ask questions. Akrana mentioned Sunday school, and we were talking about creation and things like that. And Akrani Busam say, well, what about amphibians?
Where
are on the 5th day, God created animals in the sea, the water species animals. On the 6th day, God created land animals. And you realize that amphibians are water and land. So where did God create it?
Such a brilliant student.
It was interesting, but these are all answers we can give. With their answers
and that is why I'm emphasizing, say, don't leave this particular program. We are going to look at it in this series, Genesis 1 to 11. We are not going to leave some of the questions. So if you need answers to them, please follow the discussion. We are going to look at them. So that was a brief summary of what happened on all the days of creation. But then we are asking, there are several views among for also a hoodie on this. And I read a recent article you wrote, the gap theory. Would you talk a little about the other views
Okay.
Tina may kai it for say so we call Google to see now say I have opened that file and you call your preacher on the website or more running gospelbroadcast.org www.gospelbroadcast.org. Yes. So I search first article. I think it was released some 4 days ago.
Yeah.
From the day we are doing this recording, 4 days ago. And also the gap theory, the theory with holes, the gap theory, the theory with holes. As it stands now, about 252 people now read the article. You can also go there and check it out. It's here. You can look at it and also get access to it. So can you tell us a bit about the other views among for a holy concerning Genesis 1, the creation account now, and after article now will try it.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
There are a lot of views.
Okay.
There are essentially about 5 other views from the literal view I just gave you. Say literal,
Okay.
But there are about 5 views, which there are more, but group on 5.
Yeah.
The first one is the mythological view. Myth.
Mythological view. Okay.
There are people who believe that, well, Moses, Genesis chapter 1, he borrowed it from Babylonian view of creation. You see, Babylon also have view of creation. And their point is that, you see, in Babylon mythology, they also have something like, I say, insio, you see, in Genesis chapter 1, verse number 6 and 7.
Yeah.
I won't let us read that much, but
sure.
Genesis chapter is expense
Yes.
to separate the water above from the water below. You see, Babylon mythology, their story of creation, they say.
Yeah.
In Vitiasiano, na you will sweet water. That is male, Bema, a male god.
Yeah.
Absolute. Male god, yes. Onuna ana near what
Oba
also a salty water. Ocean. As a poneapo. But a pobaconi is a sugar.
Sweet salt.
Never salty. Timer. Timer. Only oban. Ana omumienu and a kaboom. And almost as a ball ghost. And yame, they created ghosts, multiple ghosts. Good. Now, a drew baby na ghost no as I say you may be a omeni Berman, the sweet ocean. I know you say, well, and you may destroy
ghosts are creating.
And a ghost back would say, Anna Otimi a VD and Okun Berman, you or ball be as Okun. Dokun, Anna Obano, and I send a urino. Organizing was so I say, Omai said, yeah, then I smaba. So he formed out beasts or monsters to try to fight the ghosts. Okay. And the ghost was led by the Babylonian god Marduk. Usia Daniel Humano, Usia even Jeremiah. You come across, you meet in history, you meet the Babylonian god Marduk. And Marduk leading the ghosts to fight against him, and they won. See,
already listening to it's obvious it's a myth because as you are speaking, I'm just popping holes, like punching holes in the story, and I'm like, okay, so how can this be the story for?
So they believe that Marduk won, and when he won, then he created man out of the bones or the remains of the female god.
This is a nice better story.
Well, then he created them out of. So that's a bit, and people believe that Moses borrowed his ideas from it. Borrowed his ideas from that, and out of that, he generated what we call.
So this is the mythological view.
The second view is the reconstruction theory.
Reconstruction theory.
Reconstruction. That is what you call the gap theory.
The gap theory.
The gap theory.
And this is what the article addresses.
Okay. It's called the gap theory or the reconstruction theory. This is what is happening. What they believe. In fact, it's believed by some people who are mentioned in the Bible. You see, in Acts chapter 17, I think verse number 18, Paul met Epicureans and the Stoics. Stoics believed the God theory. They have sketchy view of the God theory small.
Okay.
Some hold some view about the God theory. So there are people who hold a bit of a view of the God theory. And the God theory is that Genesis chapter 1, verse number 1. Our Bible says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That was a perfect creation. From Genesis chapter 1 to Genesis chapter 2, there are billions of years in there. There were things that were happening there. Things that happen we will talk about that in detail. So God has to reconstruct the earth. So the earth was in chaos. That is why we can Genesis chapter 1, verse number 2 say, and the earth was without
form and void. And so darkness was on the face of the deep.
So their point is that between Genesis chapter 1 and Genesis chapter 2, there was chaos.
Genesis 1 verse 1 and verse 2.
Yes, Genesis chapter 1 verse number 1 and Genesis chapter 1 verse number 2. Within that, just 2 verses, there are huge gaps in between them. And Nyankopon reconstructed the previous earth that he created and he destroyed. So in fact, they believe that it's not only Noah's flood that has happened. And those people who hold that believe that Noah's flood was local.
It was a local one.
But there was a previous flood that destroyed what they call Lucifer. Some flood, it is said. And that is the view there. So that is
the reconstructionist
view.
Interesting. So for example, Ebia has and it was evening and there was morning. That's Ebia morning and evening day 1. Till day 2, according to them, before we do day 2, there are billions of years. So does this have anything to do with the current pseudo-scientific view of the age of the earth being about 14 billion years old?
Yes.
Does it have anything to do with it?
Yes, it has. It has a linkage. You see, most times, one more is Bible, when they want to compromise on truth, they think that, well, science has it all. Science is now the ruling knowledge base. Science the devious. So therefore, in order not to say something contrary to what the scientists is saying, then we seem to look for holes, and I'll show you how that thinking started coming.
Okay.
In fact, let me make it clear that Darwin issue came
later on.
After this view came. This view was existing before Darwin's view. So it's not necessarily Darwin's that influenced him much. Just that it has a linkage.
Okay.
And certainly the form in the city at the moment, has been developed later. Darwin by a form, the argument and the things that they propound was put in place, Papa. But that is another view. That's the second view.
Okay.
The third view is the prophetic view.
The prophetic view.
Yes, the prophetic view. They believe that, well, it's 7 days.
Yeah.
But the 7 days are not necessarily days that God created, but 7 successive visions of Moses. 7 successive visions.
You see,
that is why they call it the prophetic view.
Okay.
So it's Moses or die one day or die or so die na so
sorry.
In other words, that day, in the first day, Moses died. No report today. But doesn't mean that it took 1 day to make
that.
it.
I get it.
Do you get it?
I get the view.
Yes. So that is the prophetic view.
The Moses Neda 6 days, and then it would even So I'm not critiquing it. So
yeah.
Okay.
So that is another view people hold.
Okay.
Which they take them. They go around spreading this issue.
Yeah.
There's another view which is very, very popular. This even Jehovah's Witness people believe it.
Okay.
And in fact, not just Jehovah's, there are a lot of religious groups that believe it. In fact, the first person who introduced me to this view was a witness.
Wow.
And we were talking about it, or catch him and say, don't you believe that God can create about 6 billion years to create the world? I'm saying, yes, well, it's true. But he can also use 6 seconds to create the world.
Seconds was what was in my head.
6 seconds to create the world.
But he could even blink and everything is created.
Yes, but if he chose to do it this way, well, I don't have a problem.
Yeah.
He didn't tell us why he did it that way.
Yeah.
He could have done it all in the first day.
True.
He could have done it. It's like someone asked him, so God spent we are waiting as we are seeing we just space krakato. The fact that only you use does not mean that there's no use for it.
True.
You see, so that was the first time I got introduced to this third view.
Yeah.
It's called day age theory.
Yeah,
or some people call it AEONIC theory.
Yeah.
Say day beyond say day one. It's a billion years. Day one. Nyango poka say Victor. Nyango poka boss.
And billions of
years
to accommodate evolution.
So the word day is used there meant billions of years, not day in the literal sense of the use
24 hours.
No, not that. Not day in the sense of literal day, but billions of years. That is it.
So in that sense, not just the best 7 billion years in a boy we are saying.
Yes.
If the day ages, we are going to hold on to the day age theory.
To account for what the supposed present science frontiers and say the world, the universe as we know about it was created in maybe 13.7 billion years ago to accommodate some of these discrepancies. That is why it's coming up. But the last view, what you call the panoramic view.
Panoramic view.
Or theory, and I say some call it cinemascopic theory.
Cinemascopic. Okay, panoramic, you know. Maybe I will see our phone as a wood trap pictures. Your one camera effect, you are a panorama.
Yes.
Yes.
Does
it have something to do with that?
Yes. It's point of panorama. No, it try idea
180 degrees.
Yes.
Which means 180 degrees.
So
view.
the view is that Moses as some kind will happen, but the details were not given. So just Moses kind of gave a sketchy view of what is happening throughout, but the detailed view of what's happened, the details are don't pay attention to it. That Moses is giving us a detail. Those successive 7 days happen, but it's more of like a panoramic view.
Okay.
Say and I say a cinemascopic view of what happened, but not necessarily literal view and happened. Interestingly, there is a brother, a scholar of that. You call him C.C. Crawford. Well, he belonged to, I think he was a member of the Lord's Church for years. I don't know. I think maybe he departed during his time. Okay. But he hold that view. See, I had my own books. Okay. I have his book on Genesis. I think it's 3 volumes. I have his book.
Volumes?
Yes, 3 volumes of the book of Genesis. In fact, this first volume, no, he doesn't even comment. He comments on Genesis chapter 1. There's only Genesis chapter 1. He writes entirely. It's a huge, and this volume, these books are 600 pages books. 600 pages. And I had his book also on Holy Spirit. He wrote 2 volumes on Holy Spirit, the eternal spirit.
This man just writes volumes.
He's good. He's brilliant. That is the truth. He's very, very brilliant. But I didn't know all along. I've been reading his book, but I didn't know that he hold that view until I was reading his section. I think I printed his view. I think I printed his page, his book. And I think page number 200 and I think page number 230. Yes, page number 231 of his book. No?
The title of the book?
No, the title of the book is Genesis.
Genesis, okay.
That's the title, volume 1, volume 2, volume 3.
Okay.
But 231 of the Genesis book, no? First volume, no?
Yeah.
Anna Okan about the panoramic view. But all can I make kind of and they with this statement or say this panoramic or pictorial summary interpretation of Hebrew cosmogeny is one which is accepted in this textbook. So much for the introductory matters. We shall now proceed with our study of the text of Genesis itself. See, what 230? No, not 1 volume. 235, 32 pages. But I say introductory matters,
which is more than somebody's book.
It's also introductory matters. And I was reading it and I realized that so all along I've been reading his textbook and trying to understand what he's trying to say. Not knowing he holds to that view. And as I pointed out, you see, it's not the problem is not only with the skeptics. The problem is not only with the atheists. The problem is not with someone who is doubting, agnostic, who is sitting somewhere.
Yes.
Sometimes the problem is coming from people who claims or believes in the Bible.
Those who stand in the pulpit.
Yes, those who stand in the pulpit. So if you might be thinking, say, as long as when Bible kind of cry, you don't even know what you are saying. Yeah. And in fact, the sad thing is that some of the Bibles or some of the books that we have written and have Holy Bible on it are actually the conveyors or the vehicle along which you carry these false. Because you see, so what we just don't notice here now, we don't have auto Bible. Most people are going for life application.
Yeah, something they will call something easy to understand.
Commentary about the Bible, no. Now, leadership books, leadership Bible, one Bible, teachers like Bible like that. Most of it comment under it. You might be tempted to think that those comments are quote unquote inspired part of the Bible, but you might not know. Say it's the writer or the translator. Now say those people who are writing those books, comment. And it's sad. But an example, it carries some of these views. The Scofield Bible.
Yeah, I think it has a serious issue with even predestination.
Predestination has a serious issue with premillennialism.
Yes, premillennialism. Yes. You
can't. Obi a kind of Bible. Definitely you. I don't want to even call it a Bible, but someone who has that thing in his hands, it's hard, or it will be difficult for the person not to come out as a premillennialist. True. It will be difficult for the person not to come out as a Calvinist. It will be difficult for the person not to be holding some of the views that may come about creation.
That's true.
Because those things are pushed through those documents and given to us as God's holy word, which is
and it's sad. I just wanted to quickly add, say, I think, was it yesterday, I was teaching a class and I asked the students to read a verse. And the verse, I think it was it's one passage in the New Testament. And the reading was so strange to my ears. I mean, it's a passage that I'm very familiar with. So I was reading from my text, and the person was reading something completely different. So I asked, what version are you reading from? And I mean, the person did not even know what version it was. I think it was a phone. You know these phone Bibles, sometimes unless you are somebody who knows the different versions, you might not know which version you are downloaded. Yes, you've downloaded. And I realized that especially the Genesis 1 text, it carries this idea of what you said, like the universe in Genesis 1, it was created, reconstructionist view, that everything was done in verse 1 perfect. Then you get to the verse 2, it looks like the earth was now made, thinking it was destroyed and it was remade.
Yes.
And trying to explain to such a person is so difficult.
Yes.
So difficult.
The person believes that what he has
is the Bible.
Of God. So it's sad to say, you see, we have not done much about some of these things. Yeah. That is on the part of the Lord's church, on our part of the continent. Yes. Like Africa, Ghana. We have not done much on things like this. We don't pay attention to studying things. We are focused on trying to teach the denominations of other things at the neglect of some of the things that are coming in within us, which we at times don't know.
Yes.
We are so ignorant of it.
Yes.
It's sad. But if the person is able to doubt the literal view of Genesis chapter 1 to chapter 11, there is nothing left for him.
Because you can dismiss it's the foundational truth.
Yes. So him foundation.
The entire structure comes down. Wow. If we do that, the entire structure gets destroyed. It's been a great conversation, and if you have followed us to the end, wow. Clap for yourself and congratulations for being able to survive to the end of this conversation. I mean, it's been very, very involving. So when you see the other pieces here, kasi nyankopon on shout on count. And you me bring on my was say ya jebre yenya botire bie mu no obi etimi nyam entiase. Shannon so ya discuss can I trust my English Bible? You recommend certain versions of the Bible that you can use in English, and we would like you to look at that video if you are very interested in the last portion of last bit of what we said. Please be very particular about your salvation and do this research for yourself, for your salvation, for the generations yet to come. Mr. Jonathan Mensah Bonso, a preacher of Committee 8 and 9, and we are so grateful that we had him here to help us understand the details of Genesis 1 to verse chapter number 11. Nyankopon ya adoma next week, same time, same day, Thursday 6 p.m. You remember on chain near to us we see Genesis 1 to chapter 11. We are going to look at the issues one after the other. So please stay glued to our station and our channel, Chariot TV. Thursdays, yeah, apologetic are. But Shannon to say, Saturdays, your program strong cry, a friend, straight talk, yeah, the bound chain, Saturday, yeah. Now, so, you have another interesting program on Sundays called Point Out International. Say, we can share and so on. Share Saturdays, in so. Yeah, we love and family corner, but for now, program is on hold. About Mondays. Every so say you're ready. You be more swat now, so to me, I join here. Na ye ka se obi bia Nyankopon enhia obi bia me din edit Derek down so na me na me ye dwumedie ne chia me yetoto obi bia Nyankopon ya adoma next week ye be san so ehia biom yakra obi bia